Okay, so today we're reviewing the LexisClick The Growth Journey 003, so our third episode of our vlog. Just really looking for things that we can learn from it, things that perhaps we can do better. One of the tests and experiments that we wanted to do this week was just trying to improve the sound quality. So we've actually got a mic and we've got a sound recorder down there, so maybe Chris can get those in. Got a mic, so we're trying to use some of this kit that we bought to see if we can improve the quality of what we're doing, because definitely the sound quality on a few things we thought we could certainly improve.
So if I look weird because my hand's like poking out of the other side of the screen, it's because I'm temporarily doing a behind the scenes shot.
Behind the scenes shot.
Behind the scenes. So this is what we're recording it on, and we're going to do it on the iMac as well, so we can compare the webcam footage from the iMac with the DSLR and the mic attached to that.
See how the sound compares, and we can do it side by side. Right, so should we get watching then? Let's do it. Watch away.
So I'll probably discuss this a bit later in the video, but the first one of our videos went live Friday. We got the first draft back from Video Club, aka Treehouse Digital, and both sides had some feedback on how the video could be improved. It wasn't perfect. I wasn't not happy with it, but there's definitely things that I might have done differently.
One of the things that'd be interesting to do would be to see how watching it in there is and recording, because it's actually quite echoey, this, isn't it?
Yes. Unless we put some sound deadening stuff around here as well.
We'll have sound deadening everywhere.
However, I think what's important is that A, we actually get it done, and B, we continually make improvements. And I don't think it's a problem that it wasn't perfect, and I think, you know, we've got a lot of opportunities to make it better as we go through this process. As I mentioned yesterday, I am imminently going to be disappearing for a short while. My wife is due to give birth next Thursday, and as we started on this journey of vlogging, I want to make sure that this is something that we continue with or without me as part of it. So I'm putting together a plan about the process as to how it all works. George and Agnes are both going to be responsible for pointing the camera at as many things as possible and recording conversations we have around the office. And we've set a target of at least 3 clips per day. So
I'll come back. The door's now shut.
hopefully everything goes to plan and the weekly vlog will continue. So we just watched the second episode of The Growth Journey.
Yeah.
Just watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I thought there was some really good things in there. The thing that we were just discussing a little bit offline was just how we could perhaps look at opportunities to make things a little bit more personal, a little bit more focused on the growth message that we're looking at. From the outside, someone might have to piece that stuff together, and there's quite a lot of reading between the lines.
I think we're having those conversations, but we're just not necessarily recording them. One of the things we need to get in the habit of doing is just recording more of the conversations we have.
Again, it's an important part of the learning process, and that's why we're documenting this, because it is the learning process that we're going through. So certainly from my side, like having reviewed that video, I'm happy with it. I'm happy that we get it out there. I'm happy that we publish it, because a big part of what we're doing is saying, look, let's do this, let's get it out there, and let's learn in the process, and let's document that learning.
So we put the camera on because we are reading through an email with some feedback we got from episode 002. We just wanted to kind of go through those with you and tell you what we've been told, and then I guess what we plan on trying to do differently based upon the experts over the Video Club telling us what they think is going to make these videos better. So a few of the points. The purpose of the video is not clear. I 100% agree. I've recorded another video saying that that's what I'm definitely going to do. I've already written the document. I just need to get it across to them.
One of the key things we were discussing is we don't think our audience has the time to watch us discussing something for 20 minutes, half an hour. We definitely need to be concise in terms of communicating our message. And I think, just to really sum everything up, we've had this constructive criticism, and we've identified that we need to identify for each of these vlogs, whilst they are a diary of our journey, they're a diary of things that we've learned. We need to summarise the key lessons that we've learnt.
I think to maintain a weekly or a daily vlog, you need to create a lot of content. You know, there's always going to be things that you can't film. So when I sent the instructions across to the video club, I did say the sound quality is a bit rubbish. I said the main point I was trying to get across was to try and make the point of fitting vlogging into your downtime.
Yeah.
And I guess they've obviously tried to do that, but what they're working with is pretty rough. I think any spare moment of the day where you've got something to say or something to document, you should take the opportunity.
So I suppose it's quite a good way to use a bit of downtime. Like, so we're walking to go and get our lunch now, and
You must be able to just get a windsock for a camera, right?
Well, I think the good thing about this is like we can just say mistake, can't hear a word we're saying, and we've got a load of irritating background noise, and we can just like run some tests to then see can we do this, and then get good sound quality.
and then you are
So it's quite a useful test.
said.
I'm not sure we need to say much of it in this particular video.
It's very true. But, you know, I think like showing progress as to where we've come from.
But I think like what we could do is just say, would it be possible just to cut this down a bit and then just do mistake?
Yeah.
Need to improve sound quality.
I think they've probably done what I've asked them to do, but, you know, in hindsight, I didn't realise how bad this footage was, maybe.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's like watching it raw, you probably don't necessarily realise how bad, but once it's been then through the production, it actually gets worse rather than better.
It's important if you want to create a lot of content. You need to film at a variety of different times of the day, and I think
And it's going to be quite interesting to hear how the sound comes out, whether you can actually hear it.
I feel like maybe it's missing like what we think about it. Like it's almost like you could pause this video and after we've watched it, insert this conversation somehow to say like because there's kind of two things happening. Like this is the thing we're talking about, and then we're talking about it. You almost kind of need them together. Like we almost need to commentate on our
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the
maybe what we could
editorial
do is-
cut or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, what's it called? Like, you know, when you get a DVD and the director talks about what's going on
Yeah.
on top of the thing.
I mean, I think we can just do it short and sharp and just go, you know, mistake, really bad sound quality.
But this clip was basically just winging it because I was like, we had to. Well, I thought at that point in time we just record everything and see what happens. And you asked me a question. It was a good question and it was worthy of answering. But you know, it's a shame that it was recorded in a place in a way that didn't really.
Well, the thing is, it's a good test because like without doing it, we wouldn't know that we need to do something better.
Yeah.
I mean, I asked a question. It'll be interesting to see what the sound quality is like on this. We've got our answer.
There you go. And I think everyone learns from seeing the bad thing happen. You know, we're obviously not embarrassed about doing it because, you know, it's part of the journey.
Well, and it also is part of what we said we needed to do. We said we need to make the mistakes so that we learn, and then we can say, right, if you're going to record yourself outside, this is what you need to get a decent quality product. Here's like the before when we just did it like this, and then here's the after when we had the right kit, and the right kit costs blah. So if you think you're going to be walking around recording yourself, get the right kit, and then you don't have to listen to the wind blowing, particularly if you're going to record ourselves on any remotely windy day.
We only live by the sea, so there's a fair amount of wind.
There's a fair amount of wind. We can guarantee that.
I'm starting realising my arms don't wake.
Yeah.
Right, George.
Hey.
Yesterday I had a hard day and I set George a little mission to get some video footage. I'm very pleased to see that the camera was set up not where I left it, which is
Interesting one as well with like not as good sound quality as it could be.
yeah. Sign, but I want to know, how did you get on?
I knew I had to record something, and I wanted to, but I didn't know what to record.
Yeah.
So basically, what I ended up doing was just introduce myself,
Cool.
and that was pretty much it. It was just trial and error of that, because it's always different when the camera's on. You're trying to not sell yourself, but sort of say who you are and what you're about. Hi, I'm George. I'm the apprentice here at LexisClick. For 4 months, the first apprentice. The best apprentice so far, if I say so myself.
Focus on the camera.
Headlock again. Obviously the camera is probably pointing a bit more up than it should have been. And that mirror is a bit of a problem because you can see the camera and you can see the bloke or the lady standing behind the camera. So maybe it's just a case of a slightly different camera angle, like it's going more.
Camera angle. You could do it from the desk or something. Yeah.
But we spoke about having like webcams on everyone's desk, didn't we?
Yeah. Although we're sort of moving away from webcams, perhaps.
Magnus, give me a question.
I think George comes across quite well. Like obviously he's sort of like trying to fill the time there because he doesn't know what to say. But I quite like his manner of talking.
He comes across really well on the camera. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah. He's got a nice big smile.
Oh, I don't like it now. It's so weird because it's just a camera.
This is the best bit.
I'll give it a break for about 15 minutes and then I'll wait for some divine inspiration.
That was by far the funniest bit of the vlog.
Yeah. I think that bit was possibly shorter than I envisaged it because there was a bit where you came in and you sort of gave him some advice and that didn't make it to that cut. But I think they've got across what I wanted them to get across, which was, you know, it was I wanted to sort of show like George introducing himself and whatnot, but I thought the kind of byproduct of doing that was that we had all this footage of George talking about what's difficult about talking on a camera.
Yeah.
And that became as important or potentially more important than what he actually said.
But I think what would be good for us to do is, as we said, is perhaps just create some of these edits that we can then link to from the thumbnails. So what are the key things, like, off watching this, that we think are improvement areas that we can make?
Well, I definitely think there's room for improvement on the sound recording. I think if you're walking down the street, you need to be conscious of the noise that you probably can't really hear, like when you're recording it, because you don't hear wind going, but you do in a camera.
Yeah, the mic picks it up.
So we probably, if we want to be recording outside, we probably need to test different ways of recording outside with like windsock, or I think they're called dead cats or whatever.
Yeah.
So I definitely think we need to do that. I think even inside, like we're testing it now. Like we've got 2 different ways of recording the sound at the minute, and hopefully this video will be better than a lot of the footage we shot last.
And I think as well, like if we can then work out what the best and most convenient way of recording the sound is, then the benefit is that we can then try and get some more consistency in that sound. Because if we can get better consistency in the sound across the different clips that we make for the vlog, then I think it'll just make for a slightly easier watching, because we'll have more consistent sound levels and sound quality.
I guess we've sort of realised that the webcam is potentially the most convenient of things to use, but isn't necessarily the best. I reckon we could improve webcam footage. We've got a mic over there, which we're going to potentially do some experiments with. Not our all singing or dancing. We've got like a boom just out of camera shot going into a sound recorder. We've got like a USB mic, which maybe we'll talk a bit more about later. But that potentially might help the sound get better for webcam footage. And I think we possibly need to work a bit on the lighting for webcam footage, because at the minute all I've got is this
desk lamp,
like pointing against the wall to try and make
which
it look
definitely gives us some interesting shadows.
So yeah, I think webcam footage for me is really good because I can just press a button, record some stuff. You know, we spent as long setting this camera up,
and it's easy to look at the screen.
Yeah, we spent as long setting this camera up as we did talking on it.
Although I think when we know what setting we want on the camera, then we could probably get it set up in a minute or 2.
I think you either need to read the manual or buy a simpler camera.
Yeah.
So we've got audio for all the footage, I suppose. You know, how to make yourself look better on a webcam if you do use that, and how to make maybe the sound better on the webcam.
Yeah, and I think I think as well the other key thing that we've come like this over the last 3 vlogs that we've done no planning, no scripting, we just recorded, and then Chris has reviewed the footage that we've got and decided, I want this to go in. Well, actually, not even that. You literally chucked it all at Treehouse for the first 2, and they had to watch through a lot and decide what was the best. Then they asked us not to send over so much because they don't have 2 hours to watch all of our footage and decide what's best. So Chris gave more direction on this one. But again, it was all unplanned, just like recording various goings on, various tests. So what we've now decided is that we want to run 3 tests each week. So the 3 tests that we thought about this week, because we already had an inkling that the sound quality was an area that we might want to improve. So we decided definitely we want to run some tests on sound and recording it in different ways, and then perhaps just going, here's way 1, here's way 2, here's way 3. So I think we could do some planning around what those different methods of sound recording are, and then hopefully that'll just create a nice succinct clip on testing different methods. The other thing is just to do some more planning, so we'll work out the 3 things. So test number 1 is let's actually plan it. Test number 2 is let's improve the sound. And what was test number 3?
Sound, lighting, was it, on the webcam stuff?
Oh, that might be a new one.
Maybe that's a new one.
Yeah, but we've got an Excel sheet, and I think just off watching what we did there, then certainly lighting and that side, and also we're testing like different devices to record on. So just understanding, can we improve the quality level by using a different device, and can we improve the quality level by improving the lighting?
I think we did some sort of brainstorming about what the tests we might like to run in the future on Friday, and I think that seeing this video each week will probably give us 1 or 2 or 3 things to test. And then depending on what we think of this video, there might be some other unrelated things that we might want to test. So I think we're sort of building up a list, and I think there might be 10 to 15 things on that list that we want to test over the coming weeks. But I think watching the previous weeks footage is quite a good inspiration, because you start to realise what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, and a big part of what we're doing at the moment is we're documenting our journey. We think it's going to be very vlog heavy at the beginning because we've got a hell of a lot of learning about video. But then as time goes on, we're going to introduce there's a hell of a lot else going on in the business. We're not just sitting here vlogging the whole time. We're doing a hell of a lot of client work, we're doing tests on our own, marketing, etc. It's just everything's very video intensive at the moment in terms of the stuff we're recording and the tests that we want to run, because it's a big learning area. But we'll start to talk more, I think, as we run fewer tests on the video, we'll start to talk more about all of the other things that we're doing at the same time as doing the vlogging.
One thing I've learned is that by having 2 cameras, I don't know where to look.
Yeah,
because
we could cut from one to the other.
I think we might be doing that, but just in case the little bit at the start doesn't end up in the edit, there's one camera straight ahead of us, which is the iMac webcam, and then over there is our Sony DSLR camera.
I think if the quality on the SLR is way better, but we find that the angle's really weird because it's coming in at the side, because we're mainly looking at the screen and we're talking about the screen. Therefore, the webcam location is probably a little bit more convenient. Is that we could, for example, set the camera up so it's pointing in at us here as an option. But we'll run some tests on that. That's all part of what we're doing.
Cool. So we'll make a nice succinct plan of 3 steps from some of the long-winded conversation we've just had, and this video will be published separately, and a small chunk of this might end up in the main weekly vlog.
Yeah.
Cool.
Lovely.
Until next week.
Until next week, the next review.